Matondo. Thank you so much, Mama Margaret and Mama Royal daughter. Oh my. You guys, you can unmute yourselves and show your appreciation. This, wow. This is deep. This is hefty. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for representing us. Thank you for bringing back so much information and and sharing it. I mean, there's a lot of stories within those stories, I'm sure, you know, and there's a lot of revelations. I'm sure people have some questions based on what they heard. So, Mama Daughter, go ahead and make a comment, and then we'll start taking questions or comments. I see Ray and Vanessa's hand is up. Go ahead, Mama Daughter.
Yes, I wanted to revisit the story about the high priest and the stick. So, like I said, when we went to the dinner, he was one of the people, and we noticed that he placed the stick a certain way on the table, and we were looking at like, what's going on here with this stick on the coffee table? And so, when we got a chance to talk to him, he is the nephew of Mayamona. His mother is Mayamona's oldest sister. He has a covenant in his bloodline to be high priest. And so he's a high priest in um in Tyre, where Maimona was born, and where he's buried. This man is a high priest there. So he is a high priest. And so we went and we asked to speak to him. And we asked him about the stick. And so he told us the story that Mama Margaret told us that, there were two sticks. Like, you can't make this stuff up. My Mona had two sticks, and one was given to another family member, and he was given, and Maya Mona made them miserable until the stick went into the hands of the right person. And he says, I don't just put it anywhere, and nobody's allowed to touch it. And so we asked him, why did he place his stick like that on the coffee table? Because so he says, when he came in, because that table belongs to Mayamona, he placed it there in a certain way. So the stick literally has come home. Anywhere in Mayamona's house, he can place that stick because the stick belonged to Mayamona. And he said, I'm talking about an old man, look like he in his 90s, strong as an ox. And he had his grandson with him. And we were told that, like, because he is a lineage of the priesthood, he's passing on his wisdom to the younger generation. He has also two elders that travel with him. And he says, whenever Mayamona calls me, I go. Wherever, it doesn't matter, I go. And he came to Luanda because Mayamona was told this year to go to Katete. Usually they go in April. Mayamona was told this year to go on the anniversary of when the Holy Spirit first came down in Katete, because it's a special time. So because it's a special time, um, he wanted him to go then. So he says, I just left and came. And he said he told us his car's in the shop. His car broke down when he got to Luanda. And so we asked him, well, when are you going? He says, whenever my Mona is ready for him to go, the car will be fixed. Until then, the car can't be fixed. But so, I mean, like, so he does have a high priest, his lineage. He's of the lineage
Mm,
of priests.
mm,
Now, um, when Mama Margaret was talking about the dimensions of the temple, that's in Zechariah 4. And
mm,
Zerubbabel is the one who built the second temple. And she's right about, we were told like he was so the bishop was so precise with all the measurements. He was hands on with the building of the temple. Everything had to be to his exact specifications, or else he'll make them break it and do it over.
Wow.
So she's talking about the measuring and all of that, that's in Zechariah 4. It talks about they gave him a plumb line to go measure for the temple. That literally happened with the bishop. I mean, this is the Bible. We're walking in prophecy. We didn't even know, because we don't know the information. So we couldn't make the connection. But knowing the information is so incredible. And one more thing, when we got there 2 days later, Pastor Kazia shows up
Mm.
from South Africa.
Mhm.
And we're like, Pastor Kazia, it's good to see you. He says, I had a dream that two people were coming from the west to Luanda, and I should go and welcome them. So he had no plans to come to Luanda, but because he was told by the Luanda to get up and go, he took a bus 3 days because he couldn't get a plane ticket. He rode on a bus 3 days to get to Luanda to greet us, to shepherd us while we were there. He came as like protection for us.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, we're nobody. You know what I'm saying? But our being there,
Mm.
our presence was very significant, and it was part of the reason that they were told to go to Katete at that time. So we were treated like ambassadors. We were sitting in Katete with all the ambassadors. We're the only ordinary people. We were sitting there with the it was the ambassador, the Angolan ambassador for the DRC, this minister, that minister, the other minister, and all of them in blue suits, and us. Like, who? And I was the only person, because I was representative of the diaspora. I was the only person. All the people that spoke that day had political office, had big offices, and I was the only person that spoke that day that was not like an ambassador, but I was the ambassador for the diaspora. I was the representative of the diaspora. There's too much. There's too much. Because, you
Wow.
know, while I was speaking, people took my speech and went into the temple to analyze what I was saying. Yeah, so like it goes deep. It goes so deep. But I'm gonna stop there for now so that people can, ask the questions and give comments.
Thank you, Mama Daughter. Ray, go ahead. And Vanessa.
There's so much. First of all, um, yesterday the spirit came over me that when you were saying my Mona is always two, and my spirit was disturbed yesterday because Bishop Vember, there's something about that man. I do not usually open up to people when I first meet them, but Bishop Vember, there's something about that man, the humbleness, the serenity in him. It's like when he's looking at me, he could see inside of me. And it's like he's talking to me, I know what you're looking for. And when you said two, I think about Bishop Nunez and Bishop Vember. There's no coincidences. These two men walk in the same spirit. I'm not surprised. Also, when you talked about when the church and when Simon Toko died, remember David had contention for his throne. Mm-hmm. And when you mention that, I think about David and all that was going on with the young women. It's there's no coincidences. And it's just And to know that in Y2K, the world had us praying against the church.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Because all our prayers were basically, oh, don't let the world end, but the world had to end for us to start, for that church to be, and to know that the church is built already. Right.
Is it? I'm telling you, we are so geeking out over here. We keep hitting each other while Royal's talking. We keep. You hear? Did you hear it? You know, I've been reading the Ten Commandments and really studying them, Elder Matavi. And one thing that Royal Daughter talked about, uh, uh, in building the temple, that Tata Nzambi is exact. When he wants something, he wants exactly what he asks for, not what you think you can come with. It's what he has given you and what you're supposed to come with. And one of the things that I in reading the Ten Commandments, I think it's the one on not taking Tata Nzambi's name in vain, and how it talks about being a usurper. And what usurters do. Usurters claim that Tata Nzambi told them to do whatever, and they do it whatever in their flesh. And I thought about all of these people coming together. We're going to build this temple. We're going to build a Muslim temple. We're going to build a Hebrew temple, and we're going to build a Christian temple. And they're doing all this, and I'm like, you are usurters. That's what you are. You are trying to say that this is of Tata Nzambi when we're hearing from the horse's mouth. This group, if any of y'all have a question of whether we're supposed to be together, Ray and I, we've been discussing over the last couple of hours. There is not another group online, not one. And we watch a lot of them to the point where I can't watch them anymore. I really can't. I can't say that I love Nkosi. I love him. And every once in a while I'll check him out. But I really haven't, just being honest, I've only listened to us and gotten more just from what is shared here than I get from everybody else that, oh, we have 12,000 people following us. We have this many people following us. But this truth right here is not being shared. They ain't talking about the commandments. They ain't talking about keeping them. They ain't talking about Miyamona.
They're talking about Yasharel, but here there's more of a Contrati because we're all over the world in this group here. And not saying others aren't, but we're global right here. And the Mayamona is working through us.
Yeah. To just know that you and Mama Margaret, the testimonies that you all have shared, and what you come with, Royal, is what you come with. What Mama Margaret comes with is a totally different eye, and it still, the sticks come together every single time. Every single time. This is not by mistake. This is not by mistake. I mean, literally waking up in the night 3 a.m. in the morning, praying for you and Mama Margaret. Father, that you fill their mouths with the word, fill their mouths and anoint them to do what you've called them to do. And while we're in the diaspora, people here and everywhere are trying to separate us in don't buy African, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm like, y'all not going to get a toe hole on me like that. No. We have come together in love. And when we come purposely in love and in Contrati, we come against that. Love is stronger than their demise to separate us. And that's what they want to do, to keep us from getting this root word right here, to hearing this important message here today. Because even what was going on with you and Mama Margaret, there was something going on with us here as well.
And it happened at the same time.
And it happened at the same time. And this is the thing, understanding that Satan is not omnipresent. He can't be there messing with you and messing with me at the same time. He doesn't have that kind of power and authority. But we do. We do. Because Tata Nzambi is everywhere. And so he can be in Angola working with Mama Margaret and Mama Royal and be right here in Washington, D.C., of all places. Washington, D.C., y'all. Of all the places in the world, you want to show up in Washington, D.C., Father? I don't know if any of y'all have met Elder Matavi in person, in real life. You know, some of y'all have and some of y'all haven't. He and Ray about the same height. They ain't no 6-footers, 6'9", nothing like that. They regular looking men. But the power that came out of Elder Matavi, when me, Mama Matanzola, Laura, Sister Keshi, and Ray go to the Washington Monument and take off our shoes and ground. Nothing big. We weren't in no big, large congregation. As we saw beautifully Mama Margaret and Mama Royal all together. It looked like 10,000s of them together. And only 6. And it's just to show you that Tata Nzambi is never interested in numbers to the point where he can't use you. Because he don't care if you're 12 or 12,000, 12 million. He don't care. He will just use you. And in that, you know, I am so psyched and so excited that you all got the chance to meet Mia Mona, to be in his house, to sit in his presence. I don't take Vatis as something light. It's not. It's not. That means that person's life is turned over to hear from Tata Nzambi and to hear what Tata Nzambi has to say. We are just not even enamored. I'm just worshiping Tata Nzambi for how he uses us and how he's bringing this whole thing, really pulling the veil off of our eyes. And like you said, Mama Royal, they're not interested in telling us this. It's give me another offering. Come to my conference. Buy my book. But it's never about really getting to the root of, y'all, we've been looking for this white Jesus to come out of the sky. He gonna crack it open and we all gonna do our exit where we gonna jump in the air and we just gonna be out of here. And it was nothing like that at all. So all my rapture practice was in vain. I'm still fat and I have no wings. I'm just saying, it gets her.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, Elder. You guys are so funny. Oh my goodness. And this is what it's supposed to be, you know. It's not supposed to be some serious place where you can't even laugh. No. These experiences are real in just
They are.
a very down to earth way. My goodness. I am like so full,
Me.
Mama Roy, daughter, and Mama Margaret. I am so full. I don't even know where to start. But let me go one at a time. And if somebody's hand is up, let me know. I'm only seeing my hand up right now. Um, last week y'all were still out there, Royal Daughter and Mama Margaret. And when I was in DC, we talked about the commandments. Or rather, I talked about the commandments. When I was in DC, I was asked to give a little word about that, and I talked about the importance of keeping the commandments. And last week, in one of the prayer sessions, I think it was this past Tuesday, I also talked about the commandments. And one scripture that I was shown before we went to DC, that I will be talking about next week or the week after, while I talk about the commandments again until I'm told to stop, is John 14:21. And I just put it in there in the chat. So it says, "He that has my commandments and keeps them, he it is that loves me." And this is Isaiah, this is Christ speaking. "He that has my commandments and keeps them, he it is that loves me. And he that loves me shall be loved of my Father. And I will love him and will manifest myself to him." I'm emphasizing that part about manifesting. Christ says he will manifest himself to those who have his commandments and keep them. Last week I talked and explained during the Bible study that most people don't have Christ's commandments. They have the abbreviated, tampered version of the commandments. If you have the commandments in the book of the law, you have them. Then there are those who have them but don't keep them. Then there are those who have them and keep them, and then he manifests himself to them. And that's like you, Mama Royal Daughter and Mama Margaret. And now I'm going to read to you some examples of how he has manifested himself to you. I was just taking notes. Last year, when Mama Royal Daughter and Mama Margaret went to Angola, Mama Royal Daughter had a dream before they went. Remember the dream about the eagle? And the mouth of the eagle was something you noticed. And then when you got there, you were the spokesperson. So you are the mouth of that eagle. And you're represented as an eagle, which is diaspora, America, and so on and so forth. Right? Tatan Zambi manifested himself to you. This year, Mama Margaret, you told us about the dream, about the Levites. You said you saw some two people dressed in very nice looking suits. One of them doesn't even like suits, you know? He rarely wears suits. And now you get to go there, and you were shown in that dream that this was about Levites. You were very clear about that. There were, like, I think you told us, sapphire color blue suits looking like, right? And now you get to go to Angola, and there's so many tribes being represented there. But the Mwanda manifests himself in you such that you only ask about that one specific one that you said, which one is this? And you are told these are the Lemba. And they're represented by that number, 24. That was the Mwanda manifesting. That was Mayamona manifesting, or Christ manifesting and showing you directly. I mean, there are many other examples I picked up from y'all's stories, but I couldn't help it. But the one about the radio, hey, if somebody has a big screen TV that just starts talking by itself, get it to the right owner. You know, or if you have a car that just starts honking by itself, you know, maybe you're not the rightful owner. Something else that I confirmed from listening to your story, you talked about the guy who was driving you, whose dad used to be the Vate for Kimbangu. And you gave the story about the way that guy would.
He wasn't the Vati for Kimbangu. He was the personification of
Thank you.
Kimbangu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that correction or clarification. So when you talked about the way they had this discussion with Toko, and this man would tell Toko, you know, you should die first so that I can get the leeway, you know, to go tough or hard on these people, right? That is exactly the same thing Kimbangu said when he manifested in South Africa. He said, you guys are lucky that Toko is nice. If it was up to me as Kimbangu, I'd have been dealing with you guys in a different way. You know? Go ahead, Rodot. I think you're unmuting. Not yet. Oh, okay. Okay. So it was a confirmation of the same person with the same personality. That is Kimbangu, being expressed through different witness accounts. One thing that I learned when I went to South Africa was that whenever you come into contact, especially with people from Angola, get as much information as you can from them. Just sit down, just talk to them, just listen, just observe, pay attention to details. There's so much detail that it can pass you by without knowing. I am glad that your eyes were opened. You even noticed this man is putting this walking stick in a very particular way. Why is what's a big deal? You know, you even notice that it's a beautiful polished walking stick. You know, when we pray and we say, Tatanzambi, give us revelation, give us insight, it is so that you see things like that. It is him who was opening your eyes and manifesting himself such that you have curiosity about a walking stick. If you didn't have that curiosity, you wouldn't bother to find out what's the big deal with this walking stick. Why are you placing it in a certain way? You wouldn't ask. You wouldn't know about that coffee table. Thank you for the information you've shared. I didn't know that Bishop Nunes never met Maya Mona. That is quite something. You know, I didn't know about the 16 years that Maya Mona was manifesting in the bishop in Sao Tome, Principe. Wow. Okay, Ray and Vanessa, go ahead.
Um, when you remember when you said you were speaking in front of all these delegates, these people of influence, you represented the children in Egypt, and they knew it. You found out, and now we know. Because, remember you said yourself, Bishop referred to you as America. Look how they're holding up my offerings. So when you mentioned that earlier, that is powerful, that they know of us, they're expecting us. And those of us who haven't gone yet, we will.
I'm so excited, and I'm very very moved. Even Elder Matavi, about what you just shared. Uh, uh, we, Elder VJ said this, I think, while we were praying last week about making your prayers shorter, but spending more time listening. Talk less, listen more. How do you know about moving a stick and watching? Is because you're, like you said, you're very descriptive in your memory. You're watching, you're very, very watchful. And this is what we have to do even in a prayer time, is to pray less as far as more words, just speaking more words over and over and over again and begging, if you will, and just sitting and listening to what Tata Zombie says. I believe it's because Royal Daughter and Mama Margaret, they spend time in prayer. They spend time reading the word. And so it's not your soul, which is your emotions, your intellect, and your will. This is your spirit man becoming awakened and being more cognizant of, I need to watch as well as pray. He says, watch and, as well as pray. So praying is a very good thing. It's important and everything, but it is important to listen. And I think about how disruptive it is when somebody's talking and you get up and you walk away, or you turn their back on them. In history, when you met royalty, it was important that you back out of the room. You didn't just turn around and walk away from the king. That's your head. You're getting ready to be killed. But what you were supposed to do was to back out of the room. Okay? When Tatan Zombie is speaking, this is what we have to do. Sometimes we're looking for him to instantly drop it into our spirits, and sometimes he's not talking right then. But when your spirit is open to receive, to know what he's saying, and you stop, okay, that's Tatan Zombie. How do I know it's Tatan Zombie? It's never, hear me, it's never to me anything that's evil or pulling you to do something out of his will. It's always to do something in his will. I want you to say something to somebody. I want you to go over there and I want you to lay hands on somebody. I want you to just go stand next to the person or whatever. And it's about obedience, being obedient enough to get up and move, not to think, well, let me think about it or whatever. No, swing your legs over the bed. He tells you to get up 2 a.m. in the morning. I know you're tired. We all tired.
It was just like that prophet.
But the enemy never is tired. And so you swing your legs over the bed, and even in your grogginess, you come before him and you wait and you listen to what he has to say. So that was very powerful. You know saying?
Well, it's like what
the
the man with the stick said. He said, whatever Tatsu Zami tells him to go, he goes. And that's obedience. And that's something we will all have. And we're learning. We're gaining it over these times in Geta.
In Getla. You know, before Mama daughter speaks, I'll just repeat this. I'll paraphrase it for those who joined a bit later. But one of the early stories that Mama daughter shared was that Maimona Otoko died in, I think it was January 31st, 1983. And in December 31st, 1983. And in January of 1984, they had the funeral. So there was this procession, and there happened to be a man who shared this testimony with the royal daughter. I think it was either the man or his father or somebody. I think, was it the man himself?
It was the man himself.
Okay, so this man is just going about his business and he notices a procession. And because he knows in Africa, when there's a procession, there's also going to be food at whatever event. So he joins the procession. He doesn't know it's for a funeral. But then as he's walking, somebody joins him and starts talking to him. And it is Simao Toko. And so this man walks along with him and has a conversation with Simao Toko. And then they get to the funeral. And the man realizes this is Simao Toko's funeral. He's just been walking with Simao Toko. Your thoughts on that? I don't know if that happened to you, what you would say, but it reminded me about the two gentlemen in the scriptures on the road to Emmaus. They were walking with the resurrected Christ, Yeah. Okay. That's part of what you missed in case you joined a bit later. Go ahead, Mama Dot. I see your hand is up.
Yes. In Ezekiel, when it talks about the two sticks, and Zambi told Ezekiel to take one stick and write on it the name of Ephraim for Joseph, and take the other stick and write on it the name of Judah. The stick that we saw was carved. It had carvings on it. It wasn't just a plain smooth stick. It had carvings on it. I mean, me and her were just staring at the stick like, is this really happening? Like, are we really seeing this? Because when it speaks about the stick of Joseph, it talks about genealogy. And the stick of Judah, it talks about genealogy, bloodline. And that's what is written on the stick, your genealogy, your bloodline, your DNA. So it's just deeper than just a stick. But I want to tell you, when the day before we left, we traveled, they had what they call a dismissal in the tabernacle. And the elders came out of the Holy of Holies. When you're in the tabernacle, there's a tabernacle and there's an inner sanctum where only the 24 elders sit. And they all came out. When Maimona came and he told us, let us dismiss them properly. So they made us to stand up in front of the audience, and the elders came out of the inner sanctum and they passed by us. Well, when this elder passes by us, he's walking with the stick in his hand. He raised his stick and put it under his chin and turns it So the handle is pointing at us. I have no idea what that means, but it caught my attention. Like, what is really going? But it was just such a powerful moment. I'm like, what? What really just happened there? Why did he do that? So I would love to know why he did that. He raised the stick off and he put it under his chin, and then he turns it so that the hook of the stick is pointing at us, and he walks past us. So that's another mystery. But I want to blow your minds a little bit more. So before we went to Luanda. I had a dream that I walked up to this man in it's like a fair, like a fair. And so I'm like, there's so many stands around that I don't know which way I was going, but I was looking for something in particular. So I see this man at this desk, this young man, and a young lady standing next to him. So I approached him from the side and I said to him, "Can you help me? I need some direction." And the man, look, he's looking straight, like doesn't even turn to acknowledge me. And he continues to look straight. So I said, "Sir, I don't need anything. I don't need anything from you. I just want to ask for some direction." He ignores me. I asked him a third time. He just kept his head straight, like I didn't even exist. But I'm looking at the young lady's face. She wants to answer, but she's afraid of him. And I'm like, I go to walk away because I said, let me just walk away because I'm saying in the dream that I'm aware of the power of my words. And if I open my mouth, because I got so upset, if I open my mouth and I curse this young man, it's going to stick. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And I turn around. I'm turning around to go. And as I'm turning around, my mouth opens and the words come out. And I cursed that young man. I said to him, just as you ignored me, you will be ignored for the rest of your life. Just as you disrespect me, you will be disrespected all of the days of your life. I said, I am an elder. And just as you act like you didn't see me, you and your generations are going to be ignored for the. And I laid so many curses on this young man. Even while I'm saying it, I'm like in shock. But it wasn't me anymore. It was the Mwanda talking. So I called Bandika the next day. I told Margaret, I said, girl, I had this strange dream. So I said, I'm going to talk to Banika. So I called him. This is like 3 or 4 days before we go to Luanda. And I said, Banika, I had this strange dream. And like nobody had the answer because like it was just a weird dream. We get to Luanda and before we went there, like Mama Margaret was saying, Pi had resurrected the Levite priesthood. My Amona had called all the Levites and called them together. And like she was saying, they had 8 children with them. This is the first time that the Levites, there was men, women, and children. Just as Mama Margaret saw in her dream, when she got on that bus, there was a little girl that was really dressed pretty in the dream. This was the first time he had called children. And so they had been fasting for like praying and fasting every single day. They would go into the temple and pray and fast. And so they had been doing this for 2 weeks before we got there. That Friday we got there. I got there that Friday before. The next Friday, Benika comes and we're upstairs in the dining room eating dinner, me and Margaret. Benika comes and he sits down and he's like real quiet. And he says to me, Mama Royal, you know what happened? Your dream happened. And it's so funny. I just happened to talk to Brother Nick, and he had this dream about this stone that was ready to roll off like an altar. And I was saying to him, that's the stone that was cut off without hands. Benika comes and he's like, you know that your dream happened tonight? He was like in shock. He says, Pi cursed people tonight. And that was the first time he prayed and he cursed the enemy. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, we used a psalm. That psalm curses the enemy. And every night, Pi had raised up the Levites because he said, we're going into a spiritual war, and I raised you up to help me fight this war. So at that point, he started cursing the enemy, and he used Psalm 109. If you read Psalm 109, you would shrink in your shoes because he cursed Satan, the enemy. He said, let their prayers never be heard. Let their children,
be vagabonds.
Yes, like you got to read this Psalm. And so every night, from that night on, they would go into the temple and curse the enemy. So something had shifted. And what I was saying was, we did not understand the significance of our being there. But us being there was the signal, was why Maya Mona had told them that they need to go to Katete this year. Because they knew we were coming. He knew we were coming. So us being there was the signal. And Mayamona comes into the temple and he's saying stuff like that is very incredible. He's saying, it is finished. My father's work is done. Like, I'm telling you, my mind was blown, just even with the cursing, because like I never even imagined how that dream could be significant. But every night they would go to the temple and curse people. And not only that, when we were at Katete, Pai blessed us. And he said, you are blessed. As of this day, you are blessed. And I will bless those that bless you. I will curse those that curse you. This is the time, if you want to start a business, you start a business. Because you are blessed as of this day. My mind, I'm still processing all of this, but my mind is still blown because we're like walking in scripture. It is very, very surreal. Engeta.
Geta.
Go ahead, Mama Margaret.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to share this little part. Last year, when we went, it always have a little hiccups because the devil always present in the midst of everything, regardless good or bad. But this year, and every time, as when we spoke to Benika about that, he say, look, every time there's a big prayer, because we went up in Zulumungu, it comes back, it always have a little chaos here and there. This time we went to Katete, we came back, a riot in front of the temple. They were rioting. people, they started to loot and riot, and I think maybe some of you all saw that. Yeah, it's like, what? But we only where my room was, it's looking over in the streets, and I said, "All right, come, look." And I tell her, "Come on this side," because there the carbs, the pelting stones, and they're just doing the thing with the youths in the road and all of this stuff there. And again, prayers, breaking barriers, and the people are fed up. And one thing that my mother, he cried because it's all the looting, and the cops ran away from the youth because they started to attack them so bad. They're coming out in droves. But something happened, and my mother was disturbed, and he spoke about it in the tabernacle. A woman, a mother fell with her baby, and the cop shot her. He shot the woman. I think she died. He cried about that. So these are our prayers, and this is the reason why they said 50 years. I think he gave the president to rule and for the people to come out of their poverty and all these things. But as always again, it's all about sleeping and the sleepiness, because I watch the people. I know we came there as witnesses, two witnesses observing, and I say, all right, look at what disobedience caused. I was just showing her. I said, look at what disobedience caused us. Look at the people. You can see that again, slow motion. Every day, it's like they're not lifting their foot and moving with like I have purpose. And it's sad. I don't talk and I get emotional about it. It's sad, right? We think, it's not so bad for us, but when it have so much resources, have oil there, so much, the people in poverty, it's very bad. And I tell her, I said, look, yeah, look at, and you go to the city part roads, with lines, and in the villages, no lines in the road, it's just driving, and like, oh, I think I had heart attack for that, anyhow. And it's very bad. But the prayer, it's time to end this thing. The prayer, Psalm 109. So when Benika came up and spoke about Psalms 109, I'm like, listen to me. But I said, Nicole, this prayer, that is dangerous. I said, don't say that so like that. You have to be cleansed and sanctified, because these prayer, it could turn around on you. And I say, he gave us the authority to curse our enemies. And this is the reason why. Because no, you are in charge of these people here. They are starving, and they raised the price of gas, and it was going out nuts. We just have so little, and taking away much again from us. So after that big prayer in Katete, this is when people started to revolt, and they get mad. They said, no, we had enough of this nonsense. And look at still, and the police and them, because they're doing what you tell them to shoot and kill the people and all of this stuff. So whatever, when we see things tumbling over, don't be amazed. It's the prayer, because the ancestors will keep saying, how long, Lord? How long? Will you avenge? Will you avenge, the blood that we crying out so long for you? So I say yes. I say my prayers. I get it up my hour. I woke up 4 o'clock this morning, and the spirit wake me. I was all fresh because after coming back and tired and all of that, I went to sleep last night. Tired. I was sleeping and praying in my sleep. I want to sleep so much, but I'm so tired. But I wake up 4 o'clock and I went to prayers. No, it's enough is enough, right? And and I had this dream when I was on my way, coming. And I said, I had this dream, like, what? So I saw this, like, people running in Angola now. People running, and I heard, oh God, but I heard, like, I doesn't saying this now because I think I wrote it down somewhere again. Yes, there is trouble in Angola, and people is running, and the sea came up. But the sea, when I saw what rise up from the sea, is a big, huge lion. Who is the lion? A huge lion face came up from the sea. I'm like, what? And the people running. I was like, oh my goodness, why I drink this thing? Like, okay. So and between sleep and wake, because the place was so cold and it's noisy, and I'm like, ugh. But I kept asleep, and I had this dream. Binika called me. I know he was worried about our traveling, and I said, yes, Binika had his dream. So I spoke to him about the dream, and he said, listen, let me tell you something. Next week, Monday, this Monday coming, there is going to be a riot again in Angola. The people is going to rise up for 7 days. So I was like, what? I just started praying because I didn't like when I saw these little children. They're like 10, I believe they're about 10, 9. They're out in the streets and I mean, touching me. And I was like, I will pray for these children. I pray for these children to stay in their house. Let the older ones come out and do their thing, but they don't care. They're out there. And it's hard when I see this thing. I just, I observe and I on top of that veranda and I'm looking out in the road and yeah, it's kind of touching. So, a little piece of this. I know Vanessa might laugh. I know. So once I get to the airport, because I didn't have nothing to do before, I said, like, I'm just gonna lie down my bed and I'm bothering to buy nothing to eat. So I cool. I wasn't that hungry, so. And when I went to the airport in Brazil, they don't take US dollars. They only take Brazilian money there. I said, man, because I paid my taxi and I had this change in my hand. I said, look, I want some breakfast, I want some coffee, and I want something before I go. That because the time to get is 7 hours. I have to sit again to come get to Panama. So I said, no, I want something to eat. But I don't like plain food too much. We don't know what they're gonna get there, right? But I want something to sustain and I want to go. So while I was there now, I ordered a coffee and I ordered a sandwich. But I can't, they don't speak English, they Spanish. So this Mazungu came from behind me. I don't know where she came from. I cannot help you. I said, yes. And I said, but I want, I point at the menu chart. I said, well, I want this. She said, there's two sandwiches on there. One is ham and one is chicken. I said, okay, fine, I'll take the chicken. So she speak Spanish and she told the cashier what I wanted. And, she said, okay. So I asked her, what's the cost? And she said, 50 real. That's the money in Brazil, real, they call it. And I say, man, I had, it cost $50. I say, I only have 30. She said, the cashier like, no, we don't take that. She said, no, 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 it's all good. It's all fine. I'll pay. Let her give her meal. And so I put my $30 and she take it and she put $20. And she said, no, 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 no. Give her meal, it's all fine. I'll pay for this thing. And she just go and sit down and you will and get your meal. I said, okay, thank you. The same but the most I bless you. And meal tastes so good. And the cashier and the person, the server, watching shock like, this thing here? How she doing that? They was in shock. I tell them, the jaw drop like, okay, you can have your seats and we will call in a bit. Like, okay. So the Most High, no matter what, this is your blessing time. Please don't be all snotty nose and say, "Oh, these people." No, take what is yours. She had to pay for my meal, so take and grab it. And Bonica, Mama, I hope you take it. So Bonica, don't be stupid. I say, "I anything, take it. It's yours." And I had such nice company, and I just feel like I sat on that plane and I tell them I'm a road. I said, I know it had an angel sitting next to me. That is, and young people start telling him about all the whys are going, everything that is so, and observing again and telling him. And he sit there like so peaceful and he very polite, nice, take down my bag, put it down and very, very and peaceful. That boy never asked to move. Nice, he's saying morning. Yeah, man, no. And every time I got a seat 33. So when in the airport, I had a little hiccup from Angola. And when I got my boarding pass, he put the number was 33. Again, when I was going, I saw 33, which is 9, which is number of Christ. And I sat there and always as the seat that I got, the first time there's a space, there's nobody sitting in the middle. Next trip again, 9, nobody sits there in the middle. A youth on the side again. It was only bit like that. And I was like, okay, all right. He said he will beat us. He was there. And things went well. Things went really, really well. And the trip was worth the while. Yes. And I said, I taking my food, okay? Mzungi on the pallet. So yes, that's what I wanted to share, yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Mama Margaret. That was so wonderful. That was wonderful. I hope you guys are enjoying this stories as I am. My goodness. Yep. Mama Real Daughter, go ahead. Then we'll close after you're done. Um, for those that need to go. Go ahead.
Okay. So last Sunday was our last day in church. So I'm sitting there. They forgot that I think they didn't want us to go. They forgot that we were leaving. So they called up everybody that was leaving. Some of them had even left already. They never called us up. So Tusamba said, y'all go up, take your flags and go up there and stand up. So that's when they realized we were leaving. So we go back and we sit down, and the next thing I know is one of the protocol team comes and says to me, what is your name? I need to get your name correct. My Amona requests that you speak. I was like, who am I that my Amona's going to request that I speak? So I go up and I speak. It was like the dismissal service. They were dismissing us. And so my Amona requested for me to speak. So I go up there. I don't know what to say. But I said, man, the Mwanda will tell me what to say. So I go up there I'm speaking, and I said to them, y'all better be receptive. Because I said to them, this is the headquarters of Global Africa. And I said, notice I didn't say Africa and its diaspora. I said Global Africa, because we are one. We are no longer two. We are one. And this will be the head of Global Africa. And so I said to them, be receptive to what Pai Maimona is telling you, because don't be like the 5 foolish virgins that when the time comes, you're not ready. Because this place is going to be the center of the world, and people will come from all nations, and you better be ready. And I was joking with them, if y'all don't want my Mona, I'll come and take him with us to the West. And I thought it was a joke. So lo and behold, I come home. I think it was the next day. Tusamba took us on a tour. So we went into Luanda, we went shopping, we went to the slave museum and stuff like that. When we get home, there's people waiting for us. And I was like, waiting for us? So it was a lady when we went to Katete, she rode along with us to go to Katete. So she came to say goodbye to us. But she came and she came with her Bible. Her and another lady. They came to ask me questions. How do you know that this temple would be the center of the world? How do you know that? And she said, so I said to her, like, how many temples in Mayamona build? It's because I said to her, it's prophecy. But she said, so how do you know it's this temple? I said, because the scripture says the temple that he built will be the center of the world. And they would have to come up every year and pay homage, or else there would be no rain. So she was like, oh. So she says, I saw your face. I was looking at you when you were speaking, and I saw you change. And when you started speaking about the temple, and when you started, she said, is that a prophecy? I said, no, that's the Bible. Prophet, she says, I saw you change, and I knew it was the Mwanda speaking through you. So I'm looking at her like she got four heads or something, you know. So then she was asking me questions about, how do we know that he's speaking to us? So I was giving her the example of how Ezekiel and Zombie said, it will be in your hands. They would see you, but it will really be me. He is the hidden hand. And I was telling her, I gave them the scripture. It was like a whole Bible class. I gave them the scripture. I said, that prophecy comes from the prophecy of Joseph, that my hands were made strong by the hands of the Almighty. And I was telling her, it was cyclical because this is the second Joseph, because one brother sold another brother and they all went into captivity. So we were speaking Bible, but then we had to leave and go to the temple. So that being done, when we got to the temple, when we get to the tabernacle is a small, like a church in back of the temple, not the main temple. I mean, this temple is humongous. But the tabernacle, the Levites had been meeting to pray from 7 to 8 every day. And they had been meeting to pray that Psalm 109 for the last week. So we get to tabernacle and Pai Mayamona, he comes out and he speaks with us. And he said, but that Sunday they had already dismissed us. This is Monday, the next day. So Pai Mayamona makes all the elders come out of the inner sanctum to dismiss us. And all the elders walk past us. And I know, like that's when it really sank home to me how important diaspora is. So then we had already had lunch with dinner with Pai in his house. So we thought, well, that's it. It's an honor. Well, the next thing Pai says, I want to meet with you all tomorrow. So we was like, what? We getting another private meeting with Pai in his house? So the next day we're sitting around biting our nails like, when is he gonna call us? So he does call us a little after lunch around 3 o'clock, and I'm getting ready to fly out that same night. I have to be in the airport at 7, and he calls us at 3 o'clock because we thought he forgot. So me and Benika, Tusamba, and Mama Margaret, we go over there and we get in there, and Pai, he's so excited. He said to me, what you said on Sunday, it was not you. It was the Mwanda speaking. He said to us, my daughters, go back and evangelize. Tell them to evangelize. That things are going to be free now. Because he's like, so are you the only person in your family? I said, my family think I'm crazy they thought I lost my way. He said, go back and speak to them. The chains are broken now. But he says to us, tell the Levites, when you get back there, tell them that we are in a war and I need them to help me fight this war. That every night between 7 and 8, we get down every 15 minutes. And they alternate between that Psalms 109 and the Lord's Prayer. So every 15 minutes, they get down and pray until 8 o'clock. They say the last prayer, and they alternate either Psalm 109 or the Lord's Prayer. So he says, go back and tell my children over there that every night they need to fight this war with me, to pray that prayer. So that is the message from Pai for us, that we need to engage. So with that, I'm done.
Engeta, Engeta, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And wow, what a powerful way to finish that up. Thank you so much. I can't even repeat it. I think it was clear as night and day, what is asked of us. So Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the trip, and in obedience and for bringing back a great report, you know. We really, really appreciate it. And of course, feel free to let me know when you feel like you gotta share again, and we'll do this again and again as much as we can. I know stuff is gonna come back to memory, and you'll be like, "Oh, I forgot to talk about this." For those of you who've not gone to one of these meetings or events, you come out of these meetings with what I call a spiritual high.
Mhm.
You are so overcharged that sometimes you don't know where to start because there's so much going on in your mind and in your heart. It's you've done a great job of putting this together the way you did, Mama Reo daughter and Mama Margaret, and I really appreciate that. And yes, keep sharing whatever else the Mwanda shows you. All right.
Okay,
Hey,
I just
yeah.
want to say, so while when we was in my mother's house before we left, and he shook our hands and he said, "Go, and I will be with you all. I will be with you all." Go.
Wow. Wow.
And that was like, boom, you know, it was like, okay, all right. It's like, like, thank you, Lord. I said, yeah, I will be with you all. Shook our
Yes,
hand
Wow.
and
like, no, that was
Wow.
my mother doing that. You just shake your
yes,
hand real hard. Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, I will be with you all.
mm,
and he said,
So,
every time you pray, I
mm,
will
yeah,
be with
mm,
yeah.
mm, mm, mm.
So get down cracking on your knees and make it because for long we have been, and yeah, I mean we see things here, but in Babylon there and other places, no, 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 no.
Mm,
And in the land, worse. So please
mm.
bring your prayer out and start to pray.
Yep,
you.
yep, yep, yep.
I don't know if we remember when we read the patriarchs, all of them said, obey Levi and Judah,
Yeah.
because Levi will be the one to pray you out of the situations that we're in. And now that Levi has been activated, the war has
Yes.
begun. Because, like
Mm,
Mama Margaret said, we went to Katete, and the very next day, the enemy was mad. There was riot in the street.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
the police shooting at the kids with gas guns, and the
Mhm.
kids
wow.
throwing stones. They lit up the street right in front of the temple.
Mm,
We
Mhm.
were standing on the balcony watching this.
mm.
The
Wow.
kids lit up tires on fire. They cut off the streets. I mean, the enemy was mad.
Looting stores and things like went crazy. Yeah.
The
Wow.
very
Um,
day
so
after the riots broke out. So
Wow.
yeah, it is crazy. But when we see Levi get activated, we know, stuff is getting serious.
Mm, mm,
yes,
mm.
a little but long before, and I would tell Mama Red something to say, Margaret, you are a Levite. Margaret, I mean, like, what is that here? What it is you telling me all this thing? And I mean, like, never, like, and then like that pass, and then this dream, and like, and see played out, and like, okay. I'm in the dream, and my clothes filthy, and all these things. Like, no, and tears started up, and she was just to me and laughing like, no, 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 this is not happening for real. This is happening for real. and yeah, and no, like, say yes, he showed me these things, and it come to life, and we have
Yes.
our part to play, and and it took us, yeah, that because our thing was we would just go there and enjoy ourselves and all these
Mm-mm.
things. We didn't expect none of these things, like,
Mm.
oh my goodness, oh my goodness, we didn't expect that at all, yeah. So you actually even what you think when you came into the holies of holies in the little temple there, you asked us all about that. What we think about us is like none of these we come to just have a little fun, enjoy ourselves, and we'll go. But man, it was hitting. And like, yes, this is like, no, we gotta pray. Sorry. And the kids go down on their belly, people go down on their belly, people who can't get a seat, they sit on the floor and they go on their stomach and they repeat and they pray. And yes, the prayer of an innocent child, these young ones, no, don't play with that.
Yep.
Mm,
They're
Yep.
innocent.
Yep.
They're
mm,
cleanliness. Yes.
mm,
Say that, Mama Margaret.
mm,
I just want to confirm what Royal said about the prayer, what Mama Margaret and Mama Royal said about the prayer, because I've been waking up for the last couple of months saying the Lord's Prayer, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., over and over again. Sometimes that's the only prayer I get out. But literally hearing him say the Our Father prayer. If you don't do nothing else, say the prayer. Prayer. So just to confirm that's powerful.
Ingeta.